Everybody, it is time that we go through the history of James Bond. So, me, myself, and I, and an occasional little help from Zach, we're going to be going through every single James Bond movie there is leading up to No Time to Die, the final or maybe final Daniel Craig movie, who knows? And it depends on the money. But, so let's get into it. Zach, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Well, I was not doing great when I was watching this movie, to be honest, and that is the first James Bond movie ever, back in 1962, Dr. No. It was a 2-hour-long movie, $1 million budget, and box office was $59.5 million. Came out May 8th, 1963, and the synopsis goes as follows. In the film that launched the James Bond saga, Agent 007 Sean Connery battles the mysterious Dr. No, a scientific genius bent on destroying the U.S. space program. As the countdown to disaster begins, Bond must go to Jamaica, where he encounters a beautiful honey rider, Ursula Address, to confront a maniacal villain in his massive island headquarters. So, I was starting to watch this movie, Zach, and I was not enjoying it at all. I was like, this is boring. It's not interesting. This doesn't, because be fair, guys, I have done this with some James Bond in the past. I've seen Casino Royale, and I saw Skyfall and Spectre, of course. I've seen those. I think I saw Quantum of Solace as well, but it's been years. I completely forgot about it. So I've had this box set right here, guys, in my hand. It has every single James Bond movie up to Spectre, and I was like, I really want to do this. I've been wanting to do this forever, so I started, and so I had that initial thought of what I thought a James Bond was, and I was like, this is not James Bond in my opinion, because it didn't have that mystery, or it didn't even, I don't even think it had Q in this one, did it? It didn't have Q in this one.
No, it didn't. It didn't. I don't think so.
Yeah, and then I think it might have had Moneypenny. I'm not for sure, but
yeah, Moneypenny was in it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but
she's what you call it. She's the reception.
Yeah. But just like everything, it came down to it was boring. It was boring, and you're like, Wiley, James Bond is kind of boring. He does this. He swags women.
He's cheesy. I didn't say boring. I said he's cheesy.
Yeah. But I just did not find this movie interesting. The plot was just not there or anything, and it's crazy because the second James Bond movie takes that but makes it more entertaining with From Russia with Love, which I enjoyed immensely more. This movie just didn't. You didn't fear the villain, and you could say you don't really feel any villain in these. But it's just the movie's not powerful in a sense, and I get it that it was back when it came out, it was probably known as this big, amazing thing that was just extraordinary. And I agree with that for that time, but it doesn't age well at all. And it takes a lot for me to be bored of a movie, because I love movies in general, but some just, you can't avoid it. And this movie does that to like a 10. And it's like when they destroy the whole facility at the end of the movie, it's like, how did this happen? How did they not notice this? There's like 50,000 people, and like it was hard to follow the action. Like, who was James Bond? I had to rewind a couple times because like there's certain parts where like at the end there's that water thing and it's rising up, and James Bond and this other guy fall in it, and the other guy falls in. I was like, did James Bond just die and he got away? Like I was super confused, which I just didn't like. But Zach, I know you enjoy this movie. Explain yourself.
I mean, enjoyed enough to like. It's by far not the best one or anything. It's just, I guess it's more of the history. It is the first one. Without this one, we don't get any others or any of that crap. But I mean, it's just, I mean, it's like before I saw it or before I rewatched it, I guess I confused this one with Goldfinger. I thought the stuff that I remembered was from this one. Then after I watched it, I was like, because I remember the opening scene with the car getting shot up, and I remember the beach scene, but then and I remember the ending. But besides that, I forgot everything else because I was like, oh, this is about to happen. No, that must be Goldfinger. Oh, this is about to happen. Oh, that must be Goldfinger. Or From Russia with Love, because I can't remember if I've seen that one or not, but
I really like that movie.
I played the video game to From Russia with Love. I know that, but yeah, this one it's kind of forgettable. It's cheesy, but they're all kind of cheesy. I like Sean Connery in it. It's
well, that's a given. I love Sean Connery as James Bond. He is probably my favorite James Bond. Just going to get that out of the way. But again, as of I'm recording this, guys, right now, I've only seen up to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. That's where I am at right now, and I've just been binge watching them to keep that clear. But that's the thing. That's my point here. Is I don't have the problem with happens. Like, he gets with a girl. I don't have a problem with that. He kisses her at the end every single time. He doesn't want to be found, but they get found every time. It happens every time. It doesn't bug me. That doesn't bug me. I like that. It's the parts where, like, the actual, like, going to the place, like, already getting followed at the beginning. I'm like what? Like, it just does. It's weird. And I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but the 3 black men in the beginning and all that whole plot line and stuff, I just hated that. Like, and then they had that weird tank thing on the beach that they were fighting. It was just like, this one seems like this would be like the 4th installment of a series. This doesn't seem like a first installment, in my opinion. It just really doesn't. It feels like a Half-Blood Prince, like you would have to really love the James Bond character for you to really love the story that's going on. But this is the first one you came out with. It doesn't work. Like, I would like From Russia with Love to be the first one. Like, it just skip Dr.No, move that like in the past or something. Because From Russia with Love, you really get to know James Bond and how he like it really likes women and all that. And I'll tell you what, man. Like, even though these movies are old, there's some very, like, I swear, there's a person in From Russia with Love could be the hottest girl I've ever seen in film. Just saying. But we'll get into that on the next one. But, again, my whole problem with it is it doesn't feel like James Bond. It's getting you stuff where you're supposed to care about so much that you don't even know the character yet unless you read the books. And I wasn't born during that time, so I don't know what they were really going for. Like, was this made for the world population, or was it more for like the people that really love James Bond? That's the real question to me. And the Dr. No villain's awful. He's like really bad.
It's a bad villain.
Yeah, and it's because what I really love is how. And From Russia with Love, Spectre is introduced, and you go through all that and everything, and then all the other ones, besides Goldfinger, follow in that footsteps of being these people from Spectre. I love that. I think that's amazing. It's where they do the ones that are, like, different, where they're not connected to Spectre, is where you false interest. Like, I like Goldfinger, even though Goldfinger doesn't take place in the Spectre villain gallery here. What Goldfinger does is it takes a character that doesn't have that. It's more about the conversation and everything. And I enjoyed it, but I would say I love the ones that more fall in the line with Spectre. And this one doesn't do that. And all the girl characters they're not interesting in this movie. Like, the other one, they don't give them much to work with, to be fair, in any of these James Bond movies because of the time. But these are the weakest of them all I've seen, and it's the first movie. But it's just like, it's just an odd movie. And like, he goes to the girl, he sleeps with the girl, then they go to the house and he's staying there. He's like, "Hey, I fooled you, haha." It's like it's weird, and I just don't. I really want to know more concise of what people think about this movie. I haven't read much into it. The only person's opinion I know about this movie is Zach, because that's who I really talk about movies with in general. But I just don't.
You want to know the Rotten Tomatoes score?
It's like a 90 something, isn't it?
Up.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, it's 95, 57 reviews. But I mean, none of the reviews are like, there are a lot of 3s and stuff. 3 out of 5s, yeah.
It's just
but That's what I give it. I mean, it's a solid. I had fun with it.
I didn't.
It again. So I mean, yeah.
I would like to see this movie. Like what I'll probably do is, if I'm in the mood, by the time for God forbid I get dispatched, I'm not done with James Bond, I'll go back and watch Dr. No, and maybe I'll feel different about it. Because I feel like I need to be more established with the character more. But I will say, from a person that wasn't a massive James Bond fan when I started this whole thing, and even watching the Daniel Craigs, like watching Skyfall and Spectre, I didn't really love the character, even though those movies are great. I'm falling in love with the character. I'm falling in love with the franchise. I'm really, really enjoying them. It's just kind of a fun watch, and I love how from each one I see a different aspect of cinema, which is great. And the one I want to bring up now on the first installment of this show is it's Thunderball. The very beginning of the movie has this amazing cinematography look to it. It kind of gives me an inside Llewyn Davis kind of look. And I do really, really enjoy some of this stuff, what it does and everything. And I'm loving the James Bond franchise. I'm really getting into it. So to get my overall score of this, guys, so I'm implementing a new thing how I rate movies, guys, and I'm gonna do this with like movie reviews and everything, how I rate things now, which are 3 ways. So the first one is Below the Line. Below the Line is not a good movie. I probably won't see it that much. I just didn't like it. Then there's On the Line. And On the Line is movies that I like. They're okay, but they're not like some of my favorite things that blow me out of the way. And then there is The Guideline. And The Guideline is what it needs to be. It's everything I love. It's everything. It's doing everything right. So that's how I'm going to start rating my movies, guys, from now on. So keep that in mind. So if I'm going to have to give this one out of that score, I'm going to have to give it a Below the Line. It just, like I said, it didn't do everything perfect for me. I feel like I need to establish a lot more about the James Bond character. The girl parts were not interesting whatsoever. The villain was weak. It just did not hit anything for the James Bond love that I have found since watching these movies so far. So, but yeah, Zach, what do you give this score?
I'm not doing all the line stuff.
You don't. You can do it your own way. That's the way I'm going to do it. That's the way I'm going to do it.
I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. Okay. So you would give it. But technically, if you were transferring that would be On the Line. So you would be getting On the Line.
Sure.
But guys, I will be back, and I will say, so I'm going to be trying some new stuff with this whole James Bond thing. I'm going to try to do some reviews outside. I'm going to be doing some weird stuff because I feel like James Bond goes to these tropical places. He goes to different countries. He fights for the U.S. even though he's in England. I'm going to be trying these new things. But yeah, I just want to start this one nice and simple. And I will say, this is a brand new microphone from Rode. It's the new mini microphone. And if it doesn't sound great sound quality, I'm sorry. If it has this weird buzz, I'm going to figure it out. It's brand new. I've always used the AT2020. So this is new for me, so we'll see how it goes. But if you guys want to find me on all social medias, it's a Wiley K. Todd, and you can follow everything Guideline at www.guidelineentertainment.com. Zach, where can they find you complaining about Jewish funny joke paper writing?
Blu-ray Zach on Instagram.
Not being racist, guys. That is a real thing that Josh. Why did I just call you Josh? Zach is doing. He's writing a Jewish paper. He's writing a. What is it again?
It's a Jewish humor class.
Thank you. There you go. Jewish humor. I've never heard of it before. So if you guys want to know more about that, you can follow Zach. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Goodbye.